passive income sounds amazing, doesn't it? But let's be honest, most of the things you hear about passive income is a bunch of crap, and here's why. But by the way, stay till the end. I'm going to actually show you what's really, truly passive, and it's not what most people are trying to sell you right now. All right, so we hear passive income. It's become a buzzword. It's become a phrase. So many people have been using and abusing this like crazy. For example, if you've ever heard about Amazon drop shipping, hey, it's passive. No, it's not. You hear people talking about even doing real estate, but even though real estate is technically passive income is a tax term more catered towards real estate investing, more like the renting aspect. Still, these guys are talking about doing fix and flips or wholesaling, as they call it. These are legitimate businesses that take your time, energy, attention, and money and are anything but passive. And this is why, if you're like me, you've stopped believing in the whole passive income type of philosophy, right? You're like, you know what? It's just a buzzword. People are just trying to sell me crap. But I'm here to tell you there is an actual path towards passive, but it's not what most of those people are selling you today. So like I said, passive income is an actual real technical legal term. It's something the IRS has coined more for those that buy real estate, rent out a property, and then they earn passive income. So is it real? Yes, passive income is a real term. But unfortunately, it doesn't not necessarily that means you're not doing the work. And here's the clear distinction. One of these two things has to do work. Either one, you've got to do the work, right? Or two, your money has to do the work. That's pretty much it. In some cases, there's things out there that make you use your time, energy, and money. But I want to talk about what it is not first before what it is. So it is not doing things like creating a new business. Now, is it possible you could start a business, build up those, put a lot of work and effort into it to start building systems and then eventually start to have what I call residual income? Yes, but there's still management oversight needed. And here's the truth. Even with actual true passive income, there's always some sort of stewardship involved that you got to be involved in this. If you think you can just set it and forget it, turn your brain off, that's the easiest way that people get scammed and lose money. All the time I see it happen. I've seen it happen over the many years. People buy in thinking I can just lock my money away, just like my financial advisor says, just lock it away and let it sit there. And then eventually somehow I'll make money. And that's just the recipe. That's a really recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for being broke, not just now, but later in the future too. And so when you have a business, for example, that you try to create, put in all that time and effort to then create systems. It could be a franchise business. It could be something where it does have systems or people in place. Awesome. I'm not opposed to that. But just realize it's not passive. This does not mean brain off and or hands off type of business. You've got to be hands-on and brain on to make it work. So I wouldn't call it passive. That's why I refer to that as if you build systems and then start to get income coming in, even if you're not working, I call that residual income. And that's awesome. That's great. Have that in your portfolio if you want. But if you want true passive income, this is where your money does the walking for you. This is where your money's actually doing the work. Now, like I said, this does not mean brain off, turn it over. For example, you could put into a CD in a bank, but how much money are you going to really make? Are you really going to move the needle that much? Not at all. Even people that put into mutual funds, the problem is if you get in your 60s and you try to pull money out of mutual funds, they're only going to recommend 3% a year. Why? Because markets go up and down, and you don't want to pull out money when the market's going down because it'll lose money faster, and that's why they make you pull out less than the interest. And so there's not a lot of good options that you're going to get paid more than like 3, 4, 5% a year. Annuities might be an option that could do that, where you could be a little bit more brain off. But again, you have to be brain on up front to find the right annuity to make sure you don't get screwed down the road. But I teach our clients a different path. I teach them using wise stewardship. Is there a little bit of oversight? Yes. Is it like completely hands off where you're just absolutely doing nothing and forget about it forever? No. Because like I said, that is a recipe for disaster. Either one, you're not going to get paid anything, or two, you're going to lose it. Okay, that's the easiest way for people to lose money. So what I teach people to do is, how can I get my money to do the work? I learned this firsthand when I left being the financial advisor and I stepped away from that world and I started taking this matrix red pill of real investing. What I found was this, is that it wasn't about just set it and forget it like all the financial advisors taught me. They want me to turn over my money to them and then never think about it again, so they never stop getting paid. Now, I may not get paid, but they want to make sure they they never stop getting those payments, right? They always get paid their commissions. I want to take that control under my own umbrella, right? I want to take the control in my own hands and my own destiny, my own freedom. And what I found was this, is that, for example, if I became the bank, as just a simple example, there's lots of ways to do this, but if I became the bank, for example, and I lend my money, whether it be to a business owner or a real estate investor, whoever it might be, and then I contractually set up the terms just like a bank would, saying, you need to pay me X% of interest. And if you don't, I take this asset away from you. So for example, in real estate, you can literally lend money to a real estate investor. They put you on the title of the property that they're working on. Ideally, the property has lots of equity, just like the bank wants from you when they give you a mortgage, right? Sometimes they don't ask for that much equity. I want like 30% equity. So in case that investor doesn't pay me my interest, I can say, great, I'm foreclosing on you. I'm taking that property. I'm going to sell it and probably make more than what you even owed me, which is their incentive to want to make sure they pay me, because they don't want to lose that property and lose out on all that cash. And so for that reason, I can go lend out my money. I can ask for 10, 11, 12%, sometimes more. I've even gotten 15% a year or more from lending my money to these people. And then they have to pay me back at that interest rate. Now think about this. Here's what's so cool is that money's coming in, regardless, right? Like I said, there could be some things, there's always risk. But for the most part, if I have $100,000 and I'm making, say, 1% a month, that means I'm now making $1,000 a month of actual passive income coming in. I'm not the one working on the property. I'm not the one they call when they need to do repairs. No, like the bank, just like you won't call the bank if you have repairs to do on your house, same thing. They're not going to call me either. So this is one way that I can actually make money, and it is hands off. By the way, let me talk about the legitimate passive income according to the IRS, which is having rental properties. I will say this, rental properties are not passive income either, at least from a standpoint of, total brain off, hands off type of stuff. If you don't have a property manager that can make it more passive, you're the one that's involved. You're the one that gets the phone calls, aren't you? You're the one that has to deal with the tenants, the toilets, and the trash. That's not passive. Even if it's legally passive, according to the IRS, it doesn't mean you feel like it's passive. There's still a amount of work that's involved. This is why when I've bought properties, I buy turnkey properties, because now I have a property manager that helps me find the property, they help me finance the property, and then they help me rent out the property. They deal with all that stuff. I don't. Usually all I'll do is I'll spend maybe a few minutes a month looking to see how much I got paid, make sure the rent payments came in. And usually I can just look at my bank account and see that too. But it's nice to know that it's very rare that I get like massive interruptions and stuff in my life. Again, hands off. I get my money to do the work for me, so I don't have to deal with all the crap, basically. So that's the thing, is like, you want truly passive income, it's going to require having money. What if you don't have money? Well, that's a whole nother video right there. But I'll just say this, your first goal is just to build up the cash. Don't worry about creating passive income. Build up the cash. And then when you get into, at least in my opinion, 6 figures, 100,000, 200,000 or more, now you've got something to work with. Now you got something you can actually start doing to create real passive income. Now, if you want to know like how much could you create in your own situation, we've actually got a work optional calculator. You can actually go check that out. It's at moneyripples.com. You'll actually see the link there below. This is the cool thing. This calculator can accurately predict how much passive income you can actually create in the next 12 months. This is literally my brain of investing put into a calculator that you can figure out for yourself today. So go try that out right now. Now, if you want to know more about where does it work and where does it doesn't work, go watch this next video right here.